A Russian armored vehicle, retreating from the battlefield, collides with another friendly armored personnel carrier. After the collision and stop, both vehicles become easy targets for Ukrainian kamikaze drones. The Ukrainian Defense Forces destroyed the Pion self-propelled howitzer, which was shelling Ukrainian positions in the Zaporizhia direction. A Russian ground drone was destroyed by the 72nd Brigade near Vuhledar by another drone. Russia is preparing for assaults on the Zaporizhzhia front and wants to capture areas of Donetsk, according to Southern Defense Forces spokesperson Vladislav Voloshin. He emphasized that these are not full-scale offensives, but rather targeted assault operations, for example, near Pryutne and Robotine, and Russian forces have occupied the most western part of Vuhledar. Although not yet confirmed, it is high likely that Ukrainian forces have already pulled out Vuhledar completely because their supply lines were in danger and mostly under Russian fire control. This settlement has become one of the bloodiest battlefields for the Russians. They have lost tens of thousands of soldiers and hundreds of tanks and armored vehicles in their attempt to capture Vuhledar, and it took them more than 2 years to do so. We have reported about this story, but now we have details. A messy divorce, a hostile business takeover, and a deadly public shootout in the very heart of Moscow. Here's how Russia's Amazon may have cost Chechen warlord Kadyrov everything. Wildberries is Russia's largest online retailer, founded in 2004 by Tatiana Bakalchuk, with help from her husband, IT technician Vladislav. It fast became a billion-dollar business, and during COVID it exploded, valued at $6 billion in 2020. Wildberries has drawn comparisons with Amazon, and they aren't completely unfounded. The company has expanded its business over the years, buying a bank in 2021 and even becoming the kit manufacturer for top Russian football clubs. Everything changed this summer when the company announced a planned merger with Rus Group, an advertising company owned by two brothers, Levon and Robert Mirzoyan, with ties to billionaire Suleiman Kerimov. Vladislav Bakalchuk, who formerly owned just 1% of Wildberries, called the merger a hostile takeover. He and his wife filed for divorce in July, and Vladislav sought support in, let's say, redistributing the company more equitably. Oftentimes, when marriages collapse, spouses will seek comfort among their closest friends. Vladislav Bakalchuk instead went to Chechen warlord Ramzan Kadyrov, who vowed to help him reunify his family and protect his business. But Tatiana, too, had sought support, and Kerimov had been able to secure approval for the merger from Putin himself. In Putin's Russia, his word is law, meaning that, on the face of it, Tatiana had won the dispute with her ex. But Ramzan Kadyrov is nothing if not a man of his word when it suits him. He vowed his support, so on September 18th, Vladislav Bakalchuk appeared at Wildberries' Moscow HQ, together with several armed, unknown individuals. What followed was the very definition of a hostile takeover attempt. When the dust settled, 2 Wildberry security guards lay dead, and Vladislav Bakalchuk was under arrest for murder. What does this mean for Kadyrov? Well, he clearly overplayed his hand. He tried to intervene in a deal that had been given the green light by Putin himself, and in doing so, very publicly went against the boss's wishes, with fatal consequences. Kadyrov has always occupied his seat at the table out of necessity. Putin knew he needed Kadyrov because nobody else would be able to keep Chechnya in line while remaining publicly loyal to Putin himself. But Kadyrov has a lot of powerful enemies. The FSB cannot stand him because he has a habit of undermining them and even directly challenging what they feel is their unquestionable authority in Russia. Now that he's acted so publicly against Putin, and with question marks over both his health and his value to the regime, it is very difficult to imagine that he has any way of staying in the position he has carved out for himself. In any normal state, somebody like Kadyrov would have been hauled in front of a court years ago and would now be sitting in a small, damp prison cell. But Putin's Russia is not run like a normal state. It is run like a mafia. All manner of crimes are forgivable, but acting against the boss is deadly. Soldiers of the 4th Mechanized Battalion of the Separate Presidential Brigade successfully repelled a Russian assault on the Svatove front. During the battle, they managed to destroy 2 tanks, 2 BMPs, 1 BTR, and a TOS Sonsepyok, along with an unspecified number of Russian troops. Even collaborators are waking up. Former Ukrainian MP and collaborator Oleg Tsarev complains that China is not actually an ally of Russia, but is simply exploiting it by buying resources at extremely low prices.
You need to pay attention to the prices at which energy resources are being sold now in Russia and China.
China.
Well,
yeah.
You know, the prices...
In general, better conditions than they've had for a long
That's putting it mildly. To be blunt, China is robbing Russia. The discounts are in double digits.
Biden may push forward Ukraine's NATO application before the end of the presidential term, a source told the Financial Times. According to the unnamed Western official, preliminary signs that Joe Biden is ready to influence the status of Ukraine's NATO application were revealed during Volodymyr Zelensky's trip to Washington. The FT does not specify how Biden can do this during his months in the White House. His term expires in January.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.